Hi, Peter Montgomery, family practice doctor, here to give another update on COVID. Thanks for tuning in. I haven't done a video in a couple of days because honestly, over the weekend, I got kind of down about all this. The quarantine fatigue got to me, and I just didn't want to think about it or do anything about it. And then I got my mojo back. Read some things that got me motivated, read some things that got me angry, and then some other things that got me motivated again about what's going on. And so I got some things to share. So part of it is I'm encouraged by my fellow medical workers and caregivers and everybody how hard they're working, how hard they're thinking, kind of to keep analyzing this over and over again. So I want to share some of the things that gave me some positive hope that we're doing something and that we're getting better at this. So I'd like to share some of that with you now. So a lot of this is learning from mistakes. Hit China first. They scrambled hard, did their best to come out with a plan of attack on what to do it and calm it down. And they actually formulated a COVID handbook, which they printed out quickly and dispersed to the rest of the world to let us know what they knew. And everybody around the world is doing their best to take that knowledge and build upon it. It's a process that we're taught. This is from Basic Life Saving Technique course, and they teach you the whole process of assessing, taking vital signs, looking at the patient, providing care. How did that work? Recheck the vital signs, retry a therapeutic intervention, sit back and watch and observe how's this working. It's a process and it works both ways. There's really, the whole point is that there's no roadblock. You just keep working on this, sharpening the sword, keep analyzing, and try not to lose your mojo. And it's also a team approach. It's not you who has to come up with the thing, the team has to. Hopefully you're not alone in this when you're doing this CPR, and we're not alone. We're learning from each other and building on it. And one group that I read over the weekend is the East Virginia Medical School, and this is their COVID-19 management protocol, and they printed it. Thank you, Dr. Paul Merrick, MD, and your whole team that put this together. A lot of information. Again, if what you're doing ain't working, change what you're doing. Again, back to this protocol. That didn't work. Recognize that, assess, reapply. One thing they're learning is that COVID-19 infection is not always ARDS, Adult Respiratory Distress Syndrome. We know about ARDS when people get a bad lung infection, they get sepsis, infections get out of control. And it happens to happen more adults. Usually people over 40 and 50 tend to get this. It can happen at any age. And we've been battling this for years, and we've gotten better. I read an article back in the 2000s, the death rate from ARDS was 40%. With improvements and studying and restudying and retrying new things, they brought the death rate down to as low as 13% in some studies. Still horribly high, but dramatic improvement from 40% by realizing they have to sedate people. There are better settings for the ventilators than other settings. Putting people on their belly, on what they call prone position, on their belly seems to help. And lots of other medications and other techniques that are useful. But they're realizing that COVID doesn't always trigger a true ARDS situation. Their oxygen levels may be dropping, but it's not always ARDS. And now they know how to tell the two apart and give better care. And part of what they read encouraged me because I've been advising people to do this. Prophylaxis. Try to prevent yourself from being in a situation where you can get lung inflammation. It's not going to keep you from getting the infection. It's going to keep you from having a real bad time with the infection. All right, especially for people who are most vulnerable, people over 60, people with medical conditions. They're finding that obesity is the single most important medical condition. If you're over 60 and obese, or if you're just over 40 and obese, I'd be concerned. This is a time to be the most excellent version of your health at this point. It is not over, but there are things you can do now to improve yourself. And here's a few things that they recommend. And again, they're saying there is no clear or high-level evidence that this works, but it is cheap and safe and readily available, and there's basically nothing to lose. This is pennies a day to do these things. And so definitely worth it, and some good evidence I'll kind of peruse, and I've also presented earlier today. Vitamin C, which I've not talked a lot about, and I'm actually a bigger fan than I used to. Dr. Linus Pauling, who discovered a lot of things about protein back in the day and earned a Nobel Prize. After that, he really became a big fan of vitamin C, and that really put it out there as something that would help with your health. And so, this Nobel Prize winner, some people said, "Oh, he became a quack. He started talking about vitamins," but he was already a genius, and we should listen to him more. And we're really finding out, wow, a lot of these vitamins and minerals have significant therapeutic effect that we've been underplaying in the mainstream medical society, and we need to wake up that these things are helpful and useful. So vitamin C, helpful. Quercetin, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Quercetin, depends how you want to say it. It is one of the pigments in many of our fruits and vegetables. It has a bitter taste. It's the reason why some of us don't like fruits and vegetables. It is very effective at decreasing inflammation. The pigments in our fruit, the things that make red raspberries red, that makes blueberries blue, that make blackberries black, it's all really the same chemicals. They're the polyphenols, and they fight inflammation and are highly effective and cheap, and you can get them in food. So the vitamin C and quercetin, I'm not here to sell pills. This is in food. Eat your healthy, good food. Very healthy. Zinc. Zinc can gum up the enzymes that the virus needs to replicate itself 1,000,000,000,000 times to explode the cell and move on to the next cells and to infect other people. Uh, and so most of us are actually quite zinc deficient because there's not a lot of foods that have a lot of zinc. So at this point, I said, yeah, supplement's a good idea. Multivitamins will have some zinc. Zinc has been flying off the shelves, so obviously some people have been hearing this message. If you can't find zinc on the shelves, multivitamin will have some. And basically, a lot of healthy foods can have some. Meat has some. So zinc is helpful. Melatonin. You get it for free. Your brain makes it when you go to sleep. So get some sleep. Turn your brain off. I know there's a lot of thinking, a lot of nervousness, and a lot of scared going around. But if get yourself to sleep, get your sleep, let your brain chill. If you can't get good sleep, if you're having insomnia issues, then fine, take some melatonin. But melatonin also has some anti-inflammatory effect. Vitamin D also been proven to be helpful with inflammation. And obviously, when people get worse, they bump up their doses. They give them blood thinners. All this inflammation in our arteries causes the arteries to clot. A lot of reasons the lungs are not working well is because the arteries going to the lungs are getting little clots in them. Dozens, hundreds, millions of little tiny clots. So they put them on a very effective blood thinner. And some people are even giving blood clot busting medicine to open up the blood flow to the lungs. It's not so much that they need to be on a ventilator and get oxygen shoved in. They need to get the blood to the lungs. So they're keeping their arteries open by giving blood thinners. And they're trying to avoid putting people on ventilators. Now, when you're in the hospital, and if people are getting worse, then they'll add the hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine. They'll add the Zithromax. While you're on a heart monitor, they will give you magnesium to prevent the prolonged QTC, which basically is bad heart skipping that can actually make your heart stop. They'll give steroids. They found that the vitamin C and the steroids get the inflammation down. And give other vitamins and antibiotics while they keep you on a close watch, and they adjust your fluids. You make sure you're not too dry, not too wet. Statins have been proven to decrease the inflammation and help people live longer. It's very effective. And it's a whole package deal. And like here, they are trying to avoid putting people on ventilators because some people actually get much worse on the ventilators, and some people have to be on the ventilators, and they're really getting much better at deciding which two groups of people that is. So, and that they'll lay you on the belly, prone positioning. And the monitoring, they have a very detailed plan on as you're getting worse, what to add, as you get better, what to take away so that you can leave the hospital. And I've had several patients in the hospital go through this and get out and go home. So I've talked to my friends who work in the ICU, who work there and run the ventilators. They're saying their problem is people showing up too late. A lot of people are waiting until they're needing oxygen by the time they show up in the hospital. Please do not wait too long to seek medical help. Okay, you're making it much worse. You think you're going to get COVID in the hospital, they're doing everything they can to make sure you don't get it. Okay, but if you're having shortness of breath at this time of the year in this crisis, you need help. So please do not hesitate to go to the hospital. They have a plan. They're going to try not to put you on a ventilator. Okay, They're going to do everything they can, but if you need one, they know who does and who doesn't need to be on one. And they're also going to try and stop this cytokine storm, this release of inflammatory chemicals. Viruses replicate and they explode the cell. That releases all kinds of chemicals that piss off and anger the cells nearby. And so they're trying to keep that from happening. And they're doing a very good job and getting better at that. They will check blood tests for ferritin. Ferritin levels are a warning sign that things are happening. They'll try and keep your ferritin levels down by giving you ascorbic acid. Hey, vitamin C. That's its fancy name. And vitamin D also with its immune enhancing effects. So they're doing all this. Why the vitamin C? It's not just a vitamin. There's a measurement of how inflamed your blood vessels are. It's called a C-reactive protein. It's a chemical given off by angry inflamed arteries that are about ready to clot off. Okay. Very high levels of C-reactive protein. Each one of these bumps here is a day, and they check the levels. They put them on vitamin C and corticosteroids and got the level almost to zero. The patient had been in the hospital a week. They thought they were better. They stopped it, but they kept monitoring it, and boom, it went right back up. And they had to put it right back on and got it right back down. So it works very good. Giving them together works better than giving them separately. It's not just the steroids. It's not just the vitamin C at this point. So this is done in the hospital, okay? So, they're very good at telling what's happening with the lungs. This is a big clot forming in the lung. That should not be white like that. This is lying prone. They want you on your belly. You think, oh, I can't sleep on belly. It's not about sleeping. It's about breathing. People who lie on the belly seem to do better. This is ARDS. This is the lung filling up with water. This is a lung. Now, both these people might have really low oxygen levels. This guy needs to be on a ventilator. This guy does not. You put this guy on a ventilator, he will do worse. And they're figuring this out. So a lot of thought, a lot of process going on here. I hope I'm telling you this is giving you good news that we have a better plan than we had weeks ago. And actually, this is published on April 6th, so we're getting better at this. Okay, and this information is getting out to other places. All right, so we are all assessing, evaluating our care, recognizing what's going on, and slowly getting better at it. Here's a few articles. Doctors, we don't do Google searches and read articles. We go to the National Board of Information, and we get our stuff from PubMed and other real resources where we read articles and we read the whole article, not just the title. But here's the title: quercetin, the chemical in the plants. If you want to go to Wikipedia, I'm trying not to sell products, so I didn't want to go to, people are selling this as a pill. You can buy it as a pill and a dietary supplement. I'm saying please eat your fruit and vegetables and leaves and seeds and grains and onions and kale and healthy foods. All these things have it. This is why they are health foods, why they're good for you. People say, oh, beware of phthalates, another thing. They need to read a book about phthalates. They are wonderful and fantastic, and people who eat more of those foods live longer. So here's another great source of useful information about melatonin. It decreases inflammation. And inflammation, think of rubbing two sticks together. You rub two sticks together, eventually you get hot, heat, you catch fire. You put kindling in there, in other words, bad lifestyle, along with this inflammation, you catch fire easier. So people who are not healthy, not exercising, overweight, diabetes, high blood pressure, you are literally setting oily rags and lots of wood shavings next to someone rubbing a hot stick here. Okay, and that's the virus. Vitamin C, thiamine, steroids used together to fight sepsis, which is overrunning infection in your body, either bacterial or viral. And there's a world multi-center, multiple hospitals are doing a double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial. This is, in other words, truth. This is as good as we get at getting to truth in medicine, is this level study. It's actually currently still going on. Preliminary data has been released saying this seems to be working really good, as we showed in the previous chart there. I showed you that inflammatory marker going nearly to zero by giving people high doses of vitamin C and steroids. Thiamine is B1, again, in every multivitamin, in all your fruits and vegetables. So just kind of a more of a general educational update here today. We do have, obviously the tracking. Here's the U.S. tracking. Our cases seem to have peaked and are dropping. The logarithmic scale, the curve is flattening. I can hit the button and make it reload, and it'll give me a worldwide number. And the worldwide number is also flattening, which will pop up here in a few seconds. World number is rising and is starting to flatten. Worldwide cases are dropping. India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, this whole part of the world, Southeast Asia, is actually just now starting to get infected, and their reporting is not as good as it was from China, Europe, and America. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. We are testing still over 100,000 a day in America. Initially, I was really upset. I was really let down that we didn't do the massive drive-by testing that like they did in South Korea. I was upset we did not do the mass testing like they did in Germany. Our testing tests, the powers that be don't know who to point blame at, but they messed up the mass testing. So so it became a prized commodity. So they assessed, recognized the problem, reassessed, came on a new plan. We're going to test all the people in the hospital rapidly. When my patients in the hospital, I am reassured that they are getting a COVID test. They are being rapidly tested within hours to tell who has it, who does not. People are getting meted who have it. They're tracking their family members and people in other contacts who may have it, because they're probably people are going to get sick within a week, and so they're on it. So we have a limited resources. They're optimized. I'm actually really mad that they were doing this at first at our hospital, but they were right. It was the right decision, and they are hard-thinking, hard-working people making hard decisions, and it's getting better results, especially in our area. The world fever map really hasn't changed much. We still got our hot spots. I do like they're better observed, where they put more things. It seems like a new hotspot is showing up here in western Louisiana, eastern Texas. That's new here over the past couple of days. These light brown areas are still warmer than the dark brown areas, so people in these areas need to do a better job of social distancing. The U.S. on average is doing a very good job of social distancing. This is about when most of the states started implementing orders and got rapid, continued drop of temperatures. So we are doing a good job. The trends are actually decreasing in these hot spot areas. The rest of the country is holding steady because it's hard to go below zero or under 1%, as a lot of patients are, a lot of people are doing a great job of social distancing. We do need to keep this up for another couple of weeks to months. Missouri, our peak is still off by a couple of weeks, and then it's actually about 2 weeks to it down to the current level we're at right now. So that's at least a month of still working on this a lot. Here's the U.S. numbers, and I got it circled by deaths per million population. This is the best way of telling how bad it is. Pretty much New York is twice as bad as Louisiana, almost twice as bad as the nearest next state of New Jersey. Things could have been done or better, but they are learning quickly, and massive resources have been applied. Our U.S. average is about 79 here. Most of the states are obviously doing better. Very large states like Florida is doing well, California even better, and Texas even better. So we are getting a handle on this and doing the best we can. So we just need to keep learning, assess the situation, apply a therapy, recognize that work better, work worse, keep working on the problem, keep getting better, keep sharpening the scalpel, sharpening your mind, be the most excellent version of yourself right now, take very good care of yourself, eat healthy foods. If you can't get the healthy foods, get the supplements. I'm not here to sell supplements, but be as excellent as you can. Get regular exercise, breathe deep every day, get your body warm every day. Hot shower, hot bath, or exercise, or sauna to get your body, boost your immune system, give it a little wake-up call every single day. Get some sleep. Be excellent to each other. Everybody take care of each other during this time. Share, love, write messages, get in touch, work on a project together. And I will give another update tomorrow. Hang in there, everybody. Thanks.